Wizards of the Coast is in control, and if you needed any more evidence, just watch this video. How much control does Wizards of the Coast really have over the game Magic the Gathering? What does a monopoly allow them to do in this context? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. And a reminder that if you enjoy today's content, if you like hanging out with the Moxman, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, show that support for the channel. Now, we're talking about the power of this game, what they control in the context of what they give us as consumers within the game. When you look at some of the amazing cards that Wizards of the Coast puts out there and doesn't reprint quick enough, we see an increase in the prices. And of course, as Wizards of the Coast sets the price for sealed boxes, and we see an incremental increase in pricing, the reduction of boxes being opened is having an effect in the secondary market. So how does that affect the player? Well, think about a card like Mindbreak Trap. It's getting a reprint in the Outlaws of Thunder Junction as kind of like a special guest style card. It's not going to be in every box. It won't be really readily available for everybody, but it's in there. And they've let you know it's in there. Just like Unfinity had a certain level of shock lands that are available, or a Modern Horizons 3 is going to have the fetch lands. There are highly desirable cards for players who always want to get their hands on them, get playsets, get collections built up so they don't have to keep changing out cards. And that's the same with cards like Mindbreak Trap. It hasn't been seen since Zendikar, and they're finally reprinting it. That card was over $100 Canadian. And now we see a reprint that's starting out around $70. It looks like a 30% savings to the players, and they ask themselves, should I buy it now? Well, here's the funny thing about a company like Wizards of the Coast and the stranglehold that they have on this game. They control everything. Just like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, they're pulling all the levers and they're setting everything up. Now, what I mean by this is they set the price for the boxes. This incremental increase we've seen, the creation of play booster boxes, collector boxes, the whole popcorn theory where you don't want to buy the middle ground one, you always want to buy the cheapest thing or the most expensive thing because it looks like the better deal. And that's what they do when they put these kind of packaging products together. The marketing that goes behind it is phenomenal. The economic team, the R&D department that go together to create these mashups of cards that we want to buy and create and try is nothing short of its own supernatural phenomenon of excitement. Because Mindbreak Trap being reprinted, or Sheoldred the Apocalypse being in right after it got released in Dominator United, we saw it in the Phyrexian block. It came back around. They did the Phyrexians dirty, by the way. I still think that was a ridiculous end to that storyline. But back on topic. Sheoldred the Apocalypse is a highly sought after card. Well over $100 now. Insane. Definitely due for a reprint. But Wizards of the Coast hasn't pulled the lever, have they? They haven't put it or slotted it in anywhere yet. Because they know that people are going to watch it rotate out of standard. It's going to rotate out sooner than we realize. It's going to be used in Commander decks for decades to come. But if they hold that lever and don't pull it, the price keeps increasing. There'll be a little bit of a dip when it rotates out of standard, and it'll go up. Cards like Mindbreak Trap, they had this lull for a long time where nobody played the card, and it's slowly been climbing. It's starting that long IP value. And since Wizards of the Coast controls when things get reprinted, and they control the value of the cards in the same way, like a monopoly, they know what they're doing. When we see these cards get repackaged into products, especially a premium product or a regular product, when you see them come along, it adds that secondary level of market value. Maybe not every card in the set's amazing right now, but you see Mindbreak Trap, you see a Sheoldred, a Ragavan, Orcish Bowmaster, you see these cards getting trickled in, and you're like, oh yeah, look at that, I have a chance for this. I've got a little bit of an opportunity, or maybe a slight chance to get this. If I buy enough boxes, I can get this. Yes, absolutely. And this is where it shows the control they have over the game, the control over the consumers, because we can't help but get excited. If you love Magic the Gathering, the idea of cracking that amazing pack that gives you more value than you paid for it. The idea that you hit the lottery ticket, the shadiness behind the scene, but you got lucky and got that pack, even though you know that the value won't always be there, you get the chance to get in there and got lucky on a pack. And that is something that is very underrated. The excitement you get is something that the dopamine rush we get is amazing. We all feel it as much as we want to deny it. It's the way it is. And it shows the control, the build-up they have with the marketing of this game. Because as much as we'd like to see these cards get reprinted faster, Wizards of the Coast understands that by keeping a stranglehold on product and supply for the singles market, or slowly letting them slip out to things like Secret Layers, or of course putting it and repackaging into something like Thunder Junction, it adds a level of revenue, a level of value over the long term. Now, for a while there, they were overprinting massively. They were giving us so many reprints that it devalued things like Shocklands, or of course the Modern Horizons 2 Fetch Lands. They haven't really come back from the beatdown they took, so they realized they can't overprint things to oblivion because they lose too much IP value. So now, we, for the last little while, haven't seen massive reprints of cards we'd like to see come around. We haven't seen the cards we'd like to see reprinted because Wizards of the Coast knows they've got to hold things in check to make sure the value is there to help push the price agenda for the company Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast inside of it. They need these play booster boxes to sell, the collector boxes to sell. They got to make sure that Modern Horizons 3 goes off well, and the fact that Bloomburrow is coming along. They add new products and mix some expensive cards that we don't recognize yet with the odd reprint of value products. Cards we really do desire, and they trickle it into the market space to keep the availability low, but the desirability high. It's classic marketing, and it works exceptionally well for a company like Wizards of the Coast because their closest competition, let's say it's going to be something like Pokemon. Pokemon itself has a very wide range audience. I don't see a lot of people playing it extensively, but it's definitely collected a lot. And the fact that Wizards of the Coast knows this and knows the other companies around them and sees what they're doing, they either pick up or take ideas from those other companies to incorporate into their own game to always maintain the top spot. They got everything now from serialized cards. They've got etched foils, fancy foils. They've taken these ideas from other companies. They're not new ideas, but they are just smart enough to recognize that and add it and incorporate it. They've got things like the reserve list that hold that backstop value and the backbone of this game in check to let you know that old cards can't get reprinted. They have value. It all builds on the brand. Now imagine they got some competent story writers into this company. They would solidify control even further. If they get movies off the ground, if they branch out Hasbro style over the next 20, 30 years, they will go to the next level. There's nothing against doing this. There's nothing bad about this. But you as a player having patience to understand that these cards like Mindbreak Trap, when they get a reprint, knowing how they control the reprints, maybe buying it right away for the $70 mark is not going to be a bad deal. $70 Canadian or $50 US may be the better deal now. When Shieldred gets the next reprint, it'll be in a very exclusive product. It's going to be a very tight run. And with the prices the way they are, we know we're not all buying them like we used to be. Maybe buying those cards faster rather than later may be the option to go. I can't say yet. We don't know what the future holds. But we know as players, our greatest asset is our patience. The ability to wait it out and wait for the deal to come along. It has worked wonderfully with sealed product. The rejection of the market space for a lot of these products has led to all kinds of declining prices and allowing players to grab those deals. And that's because the player base has more patience and they have a lot of outside stresses affecting their wallets. So that leads us to have to hold back, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes out of necessity. So I hope you guys have taken a little bit away from today's video and understanding that the company does have a lot of control and there's not much we can do as players to avoid it. You can go the proxy route, you can go and just not buy the product, but if you want to play the game, you want to enjoy it the way it was intended, you're going to buy these cards, you are going to dive into it. And as much as there are small little niche groups that have different ways of interpreting the game, the mass marketing of the game means that there's a lot of players who just show up and buy it. You see parents, you see grandparents, kids coming in, you see young adults buying these cards all the time, and they don't care. They're going to spend $20 and buy a booster packs. They're going to go in and buy the singles they want. You can't stop the machine, but you can understand the machine and get the best value you can, understanding that the control they have over this monopoly is never going anywhere, at least not for the time being. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed today's content. Leave this video a thumbs up. And of course, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow with another video. Have a great day, everyone, and love the game because it's so much fun to play. And a big shout out and thank you to the amazing patrons I have supporting me on the channel each and every day. Because of the patrons we have and the availability of daily content, it's because the patrons have stood behind this channel and allowed for this to happen. So thanks again to every single one of the patrons on the channel, my YouTube membership members. Guys, you rock. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You've made it to the end and here we are. Guys, it is crazy to think how things have been going. We used to see reprints every day under the sun. And the way they have throttled back on things and put these cards only into specialty products, it really shows what's going on. Because I have friends talking about this all the time. I'm looking and researching prices and seeing where things go. And you're like, look at how they've pulled back. Look at how they've drawn things down. It's like holding all your cards close to your chest saying, you're not getting anything right now. I hold all the cards. It's going to be crazy. But it definitely lends to people buying reserve list cards lately, right? Insane. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here at the end of this. Can you believe it? We're at the end. Where am I going? Stage left, stage right? I don't know. It's a small room. What can I say? Thanks again, guys. Have a great day. And for all the kids in the backdrop, I can see you back there. Do your homework. Help clean the room up. Help with dinner. Help your parents out. It's important, man.